So, welcome to seminar 409. I'm still admitting some people, but as I just said, since I planned a bit tight, today we are starting on time, right? Yes, so in this seminar, the idea is to get you to update us on where you are and also the innovation journey. I will get to that. And I also, as a source of inspiration, will look at two cases. Yeah, so welcome everybody, and let's get started. So we'll talk about utvecklingsresan very soon, and then after that we'll have, I think I planned 5 minutes per group to hear how is your response regenerative. And we'll end with in-pair sharings to also share, well, what kind of blockages, difficulties you've been facing, and yeah, how are you addressing it? Yeah. Right, so this is almost the end of the course. Can you believe it? So we are in module 5. How can we work systematically towards a regenerative vision? We're approaching the end, and that's why I'm asking you also to present where you are so that we can share, learn from your own journey in your group, and help you maybe. So when I say we, it's the whole class, collective intelligence, give you some feedbacks that could be useful to finalize this journey. Yeah. So I hope by now you've understood that there is not one answer, there is not one way, there is not one strategy. Each organization designs a journey, and that's why it's sometimes hard to come up with a very straightforward answer, because it has to be with the organization, with their resources, with their level of expertise, their interest, the values that are most important for them, the people. So yeah, all these multiple factors influence and then create a unique story. And here is an example of emergence, showing really how this is an emergent journey. This is the case of the Blue Bottle, and if you go on their blog page, the link is here, you can see some major steps in their journey. And we, meaning Kevin and myself, are not here to say they are regenerative or they are not regenerative, but they are definitely on a journey to both lower their negative impact and the harm they create, and improve their positive impact. And it's interesting because it already started more than 2 decades ago. And I took the time here to put some main steps. So for example, 2002, you see they founded the company. Then they worked on reuse and single use. They worked on working directly along the supply chain and engaging in direct trade. They created a first reusable deposit system. They got certification. Later on, they were audited. They created closed loop composting. They called the coffee filter 2.0, and later on in 2016 you have coffee filter 3.0. In 2013 they tried to work directly with a milk farm, and that was not a success. So I think from what I have read, this has stopped. And it's also good to see that, it's trials, errors, learning along the journey for all of us. In 2015, they created their first local certified brewery. Then you can see a picture on their website of the blue bottle dripper. It's I'm not sure now it's very current, but in 2016 they had this ceramic system to filter coffee. Then they launched cold brew compost. They work on the straws, and they worked on bamboo straws and I don't know, paper straws, I think, and also on sugarcane cups. In 2020, you see that for one coffee place, they became 100% renewable energy in Asia, I believe, maybe in Japan. They were audited by Enveritas, and they started talking about regenerative farming and engaging in regenerative farming. And I think in general, what I have seen is the term regenerative, started growing and being tested and communicated this past 5 years. Then they joined World Coffee Research. You see, in 2023, they became verified, responsibly sourced, and now last year they achieved carbon neutrality. So it's not positive, but at least they are that far. And it's been 23 years, right, of work for that. Could they have been faster? Well, maybe, but they could have also been slower. Some companies haven't even got started. So yeah, it's interesting to and also encouraging, I find, I don't know about you, to see that, for all organizations, it's a journey. And that's probably one of the words that I'm learning in Swedish, utvecklingsresan, and I heard it several times last week when I was at the port of Gothenburg, from the different people who were presenting. Yeah, so what does utvecklingsresan mean? Maybe for because I know some people really don't speak Swedish here. Anyone?
Well, I'm the one who's not speaking Swedish, so I'll have a guess. It's like a development journey.
Yeah, I mean, Ed, you've been living here for a long time.
Yeah, I should know these things.
We could have had Ayushi or maybe Gaurav being even braver, or Paul, and trying their luck. They're only on exchange here for a few months, coming from India. But Utveckling means development, and Resan means trip, travel, voyage. Yeah, right. Am I okay so far? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So and I really like it, and the reason why I put the word is because it's a Swedish organization, and we're in Sweden, and it's nice to hear how this word is used by them. They were presenting their word of starting to work with the inner development goals. And they started, and now I realize actually my notes are behind the PowerPoint, so that's going to be interesting. They started, I think the journey started with Göran Eriksson, who took this course. He took it during COVID, so it must have been 2020, I believe, in 2021. And I think in 2022, he wrote me an email and said that he was changing job, staying in the maritime industry, and relocating to Sweden, right? He used to be in the maritime industry in India before, and also in Dubai. What he forgot to mention is that he was becoming the new CEO of Gothenburg Port. And I have been witnessing his leadership since that, and understanding also how he had a plan before and he really wanted to implement change. And at some point in the organization and in the setting where I was before, he was facing the limits of what the impact he could have. And he told me he started communicating of himself as a regenerative leader. And he said that it created some traction and questions during interviews and some interest. And there you go. 2022, he was recruited as the new CEO of Gothenburg Port. And then next thing you know, I met him at the Inner Development Goals Conference in the fall, in September, October 2022. And he was there with his HR director, Frédéric, who had also been recruited at the same time. So they came together, and that was the first time that the Port of Gothenburg was present. Then the next year, he came again, this time with Martin, I have all their last name if you're curious, who is actually vice directors for operation and governance, if I say it right. Otherwise, I can check my notes. And then colleague Leah, I can check again, and she is in business operation. Let me just leave my notes because check my notes. It's not very sorry about that. Yes, so the second year, it was Martin Adeteg, Vice President and Head of Corporate Governance, and Lina Lilienberg, Business Area Manager, Energy. Yeah, and Göran Eriksson. And this year, Martin came back with Frédéric, the head of HR. And all this time, did they mention did they created big advertisement that they were going to the IDGs? And no. So it was, they had a very quiet profile, not advertising, and also because Göran explained when we went last week, and it's a public meeting, so I can share that his analysis of the situation when he got recruited was that the port had been communicating a lot about their sustainability efforts and strategy, and he found that actually that, well, it was in fact, it was maybe not that much. So he didn't want to be accused of greenwashing, and he assembled facts before starting communicating. And his HR head, Frédéric, told me, yeah, there were a few times where I said, shall we go now? And shall we just wait a bit, which is also Scandinavian. But in his case, he was very cautious to also have a team and started to have a culture, right? And here we are 3 years later with this presentation, this public invitation. And what is probably interesting for you is what Lina presented, is the journey, the Utvecklingsresan. And it's just getting started, but you can see how they planned, and there has been a lot of work before that, and also wondering how do we make sense of this, because so far the inner development goals, they don't tell you, and there is no step by step, and even the skills, it's not very well defined, how to use them, how to implement them. So far, and I'm sure it will get better in the future, organizations who want to use it have to create some sense of it. And yeah, so they worked. The way they did it is they offered the possibility to employees to join a pilot test voluntarily. And you see in February, they started this working group, and they were positively surprised. They got more interest than they could take. And what they did is they took very diverse profiles from different departments. And they have been meeting every 4 weeks, had a full day, and each day was always started by the CEO, right? And that's also a very strong statement. And he keeps telling me this. He said, Genola, the leaders have to really be involved, engaged. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just depleting for the people if there is no proper commitment. It can start at another level if this is an organization that listens, but if the organization doesn't listen and if the leaders don't listen, at some point the employees will be discouraged because they will be putting energy and nothing will materialize. Yeah. Yeah. I can give you more details, and I've been taking notes, and actually my aim is to write a first case about them. So if you want to know more, but it's ongoing. And what I think many of us found very interesting was, for example, and I think I've shared with a few of you during the group tutoring, this man, Carl Johan, who explained that he works in highly sensitive matters regarding water safety, if I understood correctly. Everything was in Swedish, and the numbers were quite big. And then he said, "Yeah, well, we can't go wrong. So on one hand, we have to be very strict on the process, very structured, and have a very strong discipline. And on the other hand, he thought, okay, that could be interesting to explore the IDGs, because how can we improve this process further and the high quality and safety by connecting better, communicating, listening to each other better. Yeah, so that was a very interesting angle, extremely achievement driven, and how can the fluff help on safety issue, right? No, but I don't like people who say it's the fluff, because this is the hardest usually. The hardest is to work together, communicate well, understand, listen, also be decisive and make a decision, etc. Yeah, so I think I've said enough. Well, actually, I have my written notes here. What else did they say? That yes, so the first pilot, free expression of interest. They got more interest. They mixed people. Then each of them finds different interest. Their current conclusion, because as I said, it's an ongoing journey, is we need a leader who will let us know the way, and we also need to internalize it and develop the competencies. We need to listen, we need to ask questions. So there they find exploring the IDGs very interesting, and each day, every 4 weeks, is a different day, and then in between they have small homework of watching a video, reflecting on something. Lena said, and I think many of you share this, including myself, it can be frustrating because we don't know the next step and the short results. It's a journey. Ja, dat her en utvecklingsresa. So yeah, and it becomes a culture versus a routine. We learn every day how to create a learning culture, how to engage with others, and also they are starting really to engage with other stakeholders. Yes, and be mindful of not communicating too much, but also not too little, right? Find a balance between ambitions and actions. I asked them if I can share that with you. I asked them if we could share further, and they feel good enough now, and they said actually, yeah, that would be great, and also to get maybe feedbacks and questions from others. Yeah. So I think you really see the developmental mindset. Yeah. Do you have any question? I don't know if I can answer them, but I could take a note.
Well, the only question that I have is in regards to the concept of greenwashing, because I have the feeling that it's better for a company to not make it more sustainable, or like the accusation of greenwashing is almost worse than just doing nothing about sustainability. But I feel like those accusations are holding back some transitions wise, like what you just mentioned, that the port of Gothenburg is very holding back with these sort of assumption. There's not really a question in this thing that I'm saying though, but
Yeah.
maybe the question is it like holding it back sometimes, the transition, the
Yeah.
accusation of.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's also, and someone mentioned it, and yes, communicating too few can also be an issue. And yes, there are definitely many cases of companies that are actually so aware of greenwashing and so self-critical that they might communicate too few. Yeah, so that's very good remark. Yeah, Karin?
Thank you for sharing. I get very curious on examples, and because I think still it's a very theoretical model, and what in our group what we have come across is like, okay, but how do we make it real, and how can we come up with ideas for our for income? But so I wonder if you have any more, because I can see the journey and the steps, but it would be good to get some, this is what we have created, or what, like some learnings and some good inspiration of actual things that happened as a result of these meetings in the beginning, etc. That would be helpful.
Yeah, well, it's still they're still in they're completing the pilot journey. One first thing that may sound vague, but for them has been that different people who never talk to each other got to connect and start collaborating. They so that's something they mentioned themselves, that they're already witnessing that. They I think I could ask them this question, and hopefully they can answer me fast enough so that you get more. Then Carl Johan was actually he was not saying we are already witnessing how it's helping us keeping things more safe, but he sees how it's helping them listen to each other, reflect on how they interact. So I think that's where they are, because they've been running that this year. So and now they will extend this to I believe all employees step by step. And I would like actually, I'm applying for funds to document a few organizations. If Inca Center is interested, I could also do it with you to
Yes.
actually be able to answer these
Mm,
questions more
mm,
factually. Yeah,
mm.
but
But even the pilot, I mean, how did they set up the meetings?
yeah,
These explorative meetings would be helpful. So
yes,
a little
yes,
bit, yeah. I mean,
yeah,
how did they do it? Even if it's just in the beginning and exploration, it would be interesting. So a
yes,
little bit more details would be really helpful to get
sure.
inspiration. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I also took quite some pictures, so I can check if I have because they presented the meeting structure. Um, and yeah, the whole day inclusive lunch, introduction of the CEO, Hols I hopp och leds av Charlotte. Hols, what does Hols mean? I don't know. Um, and and
Det kanske stod hålls och leds av. Stod det det?
um,
Hålls och leds av. Det lät som du sa så.
uh, well, I can Halsey hopes och leds av Charlotte, and then 18. Sorry, now it's getting messy. 18 participants, 3 groups of 6 participants. Yeah, so I have actually some more details in the pictures, so I could already share this since they told me I can, and yeah, and some of the first results that they are seeing, but it's still very fresh. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I have a little bit more to share. I can put it on Canvas. Yeah, yeah, because we actually also need to continue, and yeah. So I'm yeah, and in our course we have a few of you. Oh yeah, it was Linus who asked. He's not here. Oh, what a pity. I hope you will listen to that. Yeah, because he asked about, how the individual, the group, the organization, the structure are influencing each other. And I think he wanted more practical example, but still, since he was also interested in theory and framework, I looked for something that I found interesting. It's yeah, it's basic knowledge, but here on this left and also right image, we can see how we have these different levels inside an organizations, and we have the people who come with their own experience, their own image, and their own metaphors that means something to them and maybe something else to someone else. And then we have this space in between the individual in the group of interpreting each other. And I think that's very much what Carl Johan is talking about at Port, and how the IDG are creating a space to help them connect to the individuals and integrate this in the group and create some shared understanding and also mutual adjustment and improve their interactions. And then we have the institutional level, and I'm very grateful to, maybe some of you remember, to Linus, who ask, wouldn't you say that, without the institution, nothing will progress? And so it has at some point to be in the rules, in the procedure. It has to be led forward in an institutionalized way. And I think here this example is an interesting one, just like Inca is another one of showing how they're working at these three levels. And how the inner development goals are a tool for them to explore different qualities and how they are doing it. Yes, Gunilla.
Yes, I wanted to ask you because I studied a course in change management some years ago. And also one my experience when doing like big projects is that the way you talk and that you have some kind of language that are all shared by everybody and defined together in a group. That's what I find very useful when implementing a change. So I just wanted to ask you about this and how you could kind of relate to this IGT journey.
How can it help to create a shared language? Is that your question?
Yeah, it's like, a shared language, and that you have some kind of defined, so you have like, some kind of values or things that you work with that you have a common understanding of.
Yeah. Well, so far, what I see is the IGG is a tool and also a way to create a space to ask these questions. And what does, for example, sustainability mean to me, to you, and then to a group, and also to the institution? Has it been defined? So, and I'm sure you know all this, Gunilla. So I think it's just another way to create a space. And if I look now, I'm opening them, but if I look at the different qualities, well, you have for example, you have the term resilience. So a company can explore what does resilience mean to us, or inner compass, or what long-term orientation and visioning. So by asking what is our long-term orientation and visioning and our perspective skills, well, if they do it well, then they will give an opportunity to listen at the different levels, at the organization, group, and individual level. But I'm sure then there are lots of ways to do it that you could share with us. Yeah, not sure I answered your question, but yeah.
I think this was a very interesting diagram. So I was wondered if it could be fitted into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe my question was a little bit unclear.
Okay. Yes. Well, yeah, it's definitely a way to map how we are progressing and at which level we're engaging, if you ask me. Yeah. But
Thanks.
Yeah, so we will, for today, have to stop on this, but we could continue discussing it. I will, as I said, bring a bit more on Canvas, and I've noted some of the questions. So now, the idea is, this is the journey that we have you take in this course. Assess the organization, design regenerative meaning, see how to implement and learn from them. And then you took this in different stages. You have to evaluate first your first proposal with the organization, tweak it, and then see how you can help them identify some first steps to get started, and at which level they would get started. So now the idea in the coming hour is to hear about your journey, some of your realization, so you have to select, and then and also how it influenced your decision, limiting factors and how they shape your response, and some first experiments that you have tried with the organization, right? And if you have the time, you could reflect on what would you do differently, but otherwise we can leave that for group work. So I hope that we can really hear about first experiments that the organization is trying, and also based on the limiting factors. Yeah. Yes, and if you haven't gotten started on first experiments, but you did because you got feedbacks from the organizations anyways, so you have been able to, identify some of their responses, hear from their responses, so it should be fine. So, and now we'll start with group 1, and we're late, so we'll just start immediately and listen to you. I will stop sharing. Yes. So do we have someone from group 1?
Hello,
Yeah.
can you hear me well?
Perfect.
Yes, I can start sharing, and I'm not sure if my group mates are there, and maybe they will jump in and add on something we have been discussing in the chat on these questions. Okay, so the first question, basically some of the realizations and how it influenced the decisions. So our realizations were because our company is based in Indonesia. So, quite quickly we understood that macroeconomic situation is very different, and they have very big, basically economic pressures, price pressures. So there are many things that even like health things, like supplements that for even middle class would consider expensive. So that was one thing that really we realized, and also kind of just the nature of the business that we're exploring. It's it's a very entrepreneurial business owner, and I think overall, because of this culture of I think it's part of Indonesian culture, but probably also shaped by the pressure I mentioned. They really kind of prefer to try things right away, and very much like action oriented, and also the company is shaped very strongly by both religion and culture, and there is a strong community. So that's something that have been definitely some realizations that we've had. And then looking into some constraining factors, I think the ones I mentioned, these are also some of the constraining factors, of course, we have seen. And but there is even more. The time, of course, is a factor, because we do get to. So far, we had 2 interviews, and we had, of course, Aprilia, who is daughter of the CEO, who has been helping a lot. But still, time is an issue, and I would say language barrier is another one, because even though the CEO could speaks English well, there is still sometimes we need to translate, and all the documentation available in Indonesian. Good that we have AI for that nowadays. Yes, and I think so I think these are some of the constraining things. And let me see, sorry, just what's the next?
Well, what have you been able to test to be more generative?
Yeah, exactly. So first, we had a number of ideas. Some ideas were product related. And there we actually, so we have many different areas. We have product area and things that we thought we could look into there, basically looking at suppliers and where things are coming from, and if there are any better options today. Also, we thought about packaging. We thought about community-based actions, since I mentioned there is a strong community to build on top of that. And I think we also talked about kind of overall the constraints that there are in the markets, and if there is anything we need to be aware about. And on the product, we got, I mean, I wouldn't say the pushback, but I think we didn't get as much of the support, because there was a general the CEO, he was not keen on sharing all the details about suppliers, you know, and also what we understood from him, he basically, I mean, since they supply from China, it's quite, and because of the pressures we mentioned, it's quite difficult to go to, let's say, a better but a more expensive supplier. So that's the reason, like, we didn't continue with that area. But when we talked about packaging, and we talked about packaging, basically reusing, remaking, having more sustainable alternative, sourcing it from maybe other community-based businesses as well, who work with picking up the waste and then recycling it, as well as all the actions related to community. So like everything from educating the community, how to again recycle, reuse, and like empowering women as well. So everything was very strongly supported. In fact, we were surprised because many of the things that we brought as suggestions were already kind of either tried or ongoing. So I think from that point of view, we even kind of have to think a little more, like, how can we really push it? So not just, like try some of the things that they have been doing, but what new can we suggest? So.
Okay, thanks. Maybe in 30 seconds, what would you see as next steps now?
Next step, I think for us, we're getting to, once we have got clear on the vision and really aligned it with the company, I think that like it became possible for us to sort things out, and we are putting the report together and trying to like really kind of make it practical, because we also see that they have the culture where they rather try something right away. And so these are next steps, kind of cleaning up, focusing, and making things more tangible.
So how do you mean more practical? You are suggesting how to get started with the community and with the women?
Like exactly, that's what I mean. Like, we suggest kind of step by step what they can do, and also thinking about like in what format should we present our suggestions back to the company versus, for example, here, so that they actually can put it into test.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks. That was perfect.
Thank you.
We will continue with group 2 with Inka.
Well, I'm not sure, Kari, maybe you want to read.
No, you go, Sara. I back up.
Each other. Yes. So the questions were like what we have done so far, what we have discovered.
Yeah, what are the constraints?
Legislation.
How is this influencing your suggestions for regenerative strategy? And what are you testing? Yeah.
Yes. So we started with doing the whole mapping, as we were supposed to, with the ecosystem mapping, and we went through a lot of documents like sustainability strategies and sustainability reports. We have conducted interviews, and we have identified gaps and things where we have put up a regenerative vision.
Yeah. So what are the gaps that you identified, for example?
Well, when we have not presented yet the gaps for the interview 2, because we will do that within the next couple of weeks. But we have in the way that we have made up this regenerative vision, then from this vision to where Ingka are today, we have seen gaps. And some of the gaps are like that the current vision is not in line with a regenerative vision, in line with the quite sorry, my English, the comprehensive, like sustainability work that Ingka actually are doing.
Yeah.
So so their current vision and business ideas is sort of, there is a gap even already now, because they're doing a lot of great sustainability work. So we are trying to explore to present a new regenerative vision and business idea, but even though we know it's sort of untouchable, we still want to try to make an effort to maybe present it and see what they want to do with it. And then we have also identified some like where the biggest challenges were within the organization is, and we have concluded it's like the mid-manager layer. Like there is this great leadership and there's a lot of engaged employees. The employees love to work at IKEA. There's a good culture, and also they want to work there because IKEA is doing Ingka, and IKEA is a bit complicated. They are doing a great sustainability work, but it's sort of the mid-manager layer that makes it hard to implement from up and down. So we are making some suggestions for here is where we want to put IDG into action a bit, like also suggest different solutions how they can work with IDGs to increase like even they already have a great at communication, but like increase these communication skills and cooperation skills, not you cooperate samarbeta, like throughout this, so that there will not be a blockage in the mid-manager layer. And also how in the terms of both inside organization, but also towards customers, because just as you presented in the beginning of this lecture, the IKEA also have experienced this. They're doing a great deal of sustainability work, but they have stopped communicating it because of the fear of greenwashing. So
interesting.
So and also now there is coming a lot of new regulations from EU and such. So also, of course, we cannot affect all that, but we still want to lift it to the second interview and in our report that we have recognized this, and suggestions like how IDG also here could maybe be a tool, and also more, of course, connected to legal, like it's okay to communicate what you do great.
Will you get an opportunity to get them started to run a workshop or to test?
Yeah, we will. I also want to say we also have the digital passport coming up here now. We're in a few years with, so connected to legal, where they can actually start communicate with. So we will just raise that question. But yeah, we will have our second interview. We will actually make as a workshop between the interviews, people we have interviewed in the first interview, to make not just a second interview with each and every one of them, but like a workshop. So we would gain more value of hearing them talk with each other, because they're not interacting on a daily, like they have contact, but they're not working that close together normally. So that would be of great value for them and us. And then the outcomes from there, we, of course, then we'll twerk our suggestions, like we tweak, maybe you say, sorry, I don't know. Like we're going to make suggestions, we're going to get their input, and then we're going to like see how we can improve our suggestions even more before putting it in the report. And we have the idea also to present it for the organization in January or February or something.
Okay. So I see also your next steps clearly. and also some of the barriers. Thanks, it's very clear. So hopefully also what I can share from the port can be useful for this journey with middle management.
I don't know if it's possible to put it up as soon as possible, and also for the IGG skills we posted last week, if it's possible for you to in the discussion forum on Canvas. It would be great.
I have them, so I can share more IDG skills. Okay.
I posted last week the skills we wanted, as you said. So if because we would be useful to have them as soon as possible to
of course.
So much.
Okay. Yes. Thank you, Sarah. So we'll take now group 3 and hear about Mundecula.
Hello. I think I will present. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, Galina.
Yes. So it was very interesting work, and we got sufficient access to the company. We got enough interviews, 3 internal, 1 with client, and 1 with person who lives in the area where Mundecula is related. So we got quite a full picture of how company is perceived by employees and by external stakeholders. The biggest realization of this project was on the fact that not all areas of sustainability are equally covered. If we look 3 areas: environmental, social, and financial, Mundecula is pretty advanced on environmental. It makes a lot of effort on in terms of biodiversity. It's carbon positive, and it's circular inside itself by producing food and plants. Mundecula is clear about itself that financial part, they are not sustainable, but they are working towards that. But probably the biggest realization was on social part, that it's much more can be done that now is in the doing.
Okay.
And this is main focus of our work now. So we map Mundecula's current state on the organizational development map. And it also was interesting how we decided to do it. We decided that every team member will do it individually on the same framework, and then we compare results, because we were a little bit unsure how we should go forward with that. So it was also a very interesting exercise to get different views on the same topic based on the same information. Our main constraints were Mundecula is quite small company, and in the middle of the project, one of key team member died suddenly, and it stopped entire project for like 10 days, because everyone was kind of very much affected by that fact. And another maybe difficulty, much more than expected, it was how to agree with the management and the owner on suggested vision and mission for Mundecula. But it took some rounds of discussion, and now mission and vision is fully kind of aligned between team and the owner. Our next steps is to go from where we are on assessment of current state of Mundecula towards making it more regenerative. So practical steps for all 3 areas, focusing more probably on social part. and then to agree with management and the owner.
Thank you, Galina, and I'm very sorry to hear that. Thank you. Yeah, so it was very clear. I don't have any question. Is there, no, my only question was when you mentioned the organizational development map, is that the link that I sent you?
Yes, exactly. We decided to go that one because it's quite, it presents quite full picture of the company from all different components, and we really like it. So we decided to use that one. So everyone was tasked to circle around for all elements where Moldocula stands. So we now have many pictures with individual circles.
I don't think I'm not sure I have shared it on Canvas, so I will make sure I do, because maybe other groups will be interested. Yeah. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And all the best in continuing that. It's interesting how by taking the time to look at everything and interview, then you realize, and you were surprised yourself about the social part, that it could be
Yes, it's really interesting because it's good sometimes to step back, not being in routine, and have a much higher view. Then you really become much better perspective where we are.
Yeah. And you know that from your career. So we'll listen to Enako before the break, and then we take 5 minutes breaks after group 4. And then I'm keeping it fast now. We're not having time to interact, but then we will, because it's going actually quite well, we will have time to interact in the second part of the second hour. So I think for the time being, we listen, and then later on we debrief more. Yeah. So Enako, who is talking?
Sina, do you want to take it? All right, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So, very brief background. Enako is a builder and maintainer of data centers. So they design and set them up, and then they maintain them and all the infrastructure. I think, you may have to brief me on those 4 points.
Well, main barriers that you identified, and regenerative vision, and what have you been able to test, and what would be the next steps?
Excellent. All right. So we have identified some main barriers. Of course, we know that data centers use extreme amounts of energy, and it's only going to escalate in the coming years. However, there are always people in the world, scientists and entrepreneurs working on solutions. When we have interacted with Enako, they have quite a high sustainability profile, but it is very difficult for them in their position in the value chain to influence the customer's choice, who always wants the cheapest thing, short term, not maybe long term. So that is something that they use advisory services for, to kind of influence the market. And on the other side, of course, is their supply chain. What technology is available? What solutions can they implement within the financial framework of the customer's demand? And we have also identified on the IDG side that there are a lot of tribal thinking, a lot of intergenerational disparity, so that maybe older men are, in general, as a prototype group, may be more resistant to innovation and new ideas in the realm of sustainability, whereas younger generations and just as a prototype will as a stereotype will be more accepting. So this is a transformation that they have to go through internally as well as with their suppliers and customers. I would like to highlight an experiment. I believe you can call it an experiment or an implementation that I feel we were definitely in a position to launch and influence with them when it comes to the biophilic design of their office space. To my knowledge, Siri can correct me if I'm wrong, but they had not had that on their map before, and timing was perfect because one of their 3 main offices is going to move to a new office. So they will take that idea to the office designers and ask for a quote to get a more biophilic design into their office space. And I felt this
Could
was.
you tell, sorry, could you tell the group just with a few words, what does it mean in case it's not very clear for
Yeah,
everybody?
Siri is the expert, but I'll tell it anyway. So it's about like when you have an office space, you need to have enough of elements of nature, whether it's green walls, plant, but also the more curved designs. Not everything is boxed and squared and industrial. So that it influences your way of thinking is to more dynamic and more closer to nature. You get that health benefit because it's been scientifically researched a lot that how we shape our surroundings, what elements are available to us, will impact our productivity, mental health. I believe also like the whole social atmosphere of the workplace. So in order to make a transformation of this magnitude, all the elements has to be there. And one is that we have to be closer to nature in physical terms, whether it's by going out into forests and parks, or whether to actually bring some of those elements into our workplace so that we have the seeds, I would say, or like the social atmosphere to start embracing systemic thinking, that we are part of a larger ecosystem. Yeah, Sarah, go.
I could click in, but just let me know if my sound is not good. But we thought our reasoning was that since we had those, we were kind of limited due to the value chain and everything that Christopher talked about. We thought, but how could you work on this when you're actually you're working from a degenerative office? So we thought, for example, this could be like bringing in enough light for the employees, which would improve their productivity. But of course, this is maybe not the point. But of course, that is connected to job satisfaction. And yeah, so when they go home, for example, this has a direct impact on how well they sleep, for example, and then they would come back to work more energized the next day. This is just a simple example. So this is lights, bringing in plants, for example, and also the way that you design the office, maybe to make it more walkable and to have those social interactions, or maybe even creating a space where you can just go and sit and relax and actually breathe for some time.
And beehives on the roof. That's regenerative. But also, Siri, you had a great idea that you put into the presentation for them. It's also when you have meetings with your customers and suppliers in your office, you influence them as well.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, great. So you heard the beep, but so you have I just wanted to know, where are you now? What's the next step?
So we have done our presentation with the company. We are working on the report that we will also share with them. And also we got some positive feedback from the head of advisory, the man who's kind of driving the sustainability work, that he would like to use some of our findings in like a training academy for the Swedish Data Center Association.
Yeah, I remember that. That's big.
So we feel we have made at least some positive influence.
Yeah, that's actually awesome. So and then also, sorry. And then also the manager in the region South, he's actually registering for the IDG hub not in Malmö where the office is, but in Lund.
Wow. Okay. I don't know if everybody heard, but basically the regional manager is registering for the IDG hub in Malmö, right? So hopefully, Malmö, yeah, you have Vati. I've been working with Helena. She's a very great consultant, very involved, and you know her? No,
No, but
okay.
he's registering for the one in Lund because that's closer to his partner. So it's not the
All
one in
right, all
Malmö.
right. Yeah, let's see. Yeah. Anyways, let's take 5 minutes break. Stretch your legs, get some warm drink, and we meet at 10 past, and then we have Vattenfall, and yeah. And then we will have some minutes left for the briefing. Yeah. Okay. See you soon. I'm starting recording again. So, is someone from Vattenfall ready?
I'm here.
Thank you,
I'm
Nick.
the only one because my group is in Älvkarleby, where Vattenfall has this cool innovation lab, or I mean, the heart of Vattenfall, you could say. So,
So we don't get to get all the jokes from Rodrigo and
and Linus's questions. So,
I thought this class was a little bit too calm, but
yeah.
Hopefully he will listen to
You
the
can
recording.
imagine where our constraints are in the group, right? But we're moving forward. We were a bit slow started, our group, or I mean, we started, but it took a while to get our regenerative brains to work, I think. But we'll come to the last point. But for everybody in the group here, Vattenfall is one of the largest European producers of electricity and heat, with core markets in Northern Europe. It's a huge company. The ecosystemic mapping was, I mean, it was easy to map out the stakeholders and who are influencing internally and externally. But I mean, going deep into each of them was hard. So we had to kind of, I mean, one of the biggest part was to try to limit ourselves a bit. And through the process, that became more clear. But one of the first meetings we had with our contact persons, they were pretty clear on that. I think somebody mentioned that the same for if it was IKEA. Like, we have a sustainability strategy, it's set, we are proud, this is the way forward. Like, don't come and kind of critique us on that one because we are a little bit best in class. And maybe they are, but I mean, they're not best in class in a regenerative perspective. And that was also a realization that was not a term or something that is used or really known about in a way. So it's not, I mean, it's a big realization if you want to change as well. So with that, we still feel that we can give a push on maybe the vision for them, but we see that more as a long-term part of our vision, or a stepwise process for them. But we feel the parts where we felt after the ecosystemic mapping were more workable is the inner part, where we could see that they're really, I mean, an engineering type of company. It's very boxy. You come into office, you bring your computer, you either sit at a desk or you go to a room and have a meeting and close the door, or you're really focused and on your operations, what you should contribute with, but there's like not so much room for other parts. So we felt like, and we also got a signal that maybe the HR part of the company isn't so well integrated in terms of well-being. Like, how are you feeling? How are you I mean, you enjoy working for Vattenfall and motivated by their vision, but not so maybe much about the inner part of each colleague. And the engagement is good, but are they asking really the strong question on, like, I mean, really connecting with the company? So that's where we felt most potential. And then that's why we also started the kind of exhibition. So we also visited the office in Solna to see how is that office space even looking. and feeling and taking a lot of photos. And I think some group also mentioned that I mean, just bringing in plants or lights or room for recreation or space to meditate and so forth. I mean, there's no space for that at all. That is clear. So tons of improvements there. There's no. And then I remember this from my old company, a Vilo room, where you have this space for where you can go and rest if you're like need to relax. But there's one or like one per floor. But then there's office spaces just outside. People stand talking. I mean, there's really no room. And our contact person in the middle of we'll see how we'll use that. But she said we asked her, but what do you do then? Oh, she said I asked my manager, and she said, oh, go to the toilet.
Oh,
So I'm like, okay, if that it gives some small signals, even though we just have one contact person, it
wow.
gives signals to how the feeling is at least.
Mm.
So what we felt, I mean, one of our constraints was like, okay, we have to be patient, take time, we have to be non-threatening, we have to really anchor, I mean, our way of speaking to our contact person and the people in an empathetic way. And we've done these mappings. We've done our mapping, and we ask for the mapping of our contact person so that we can align at least. So we don't say, this is our mapping, what do you think? I mean, so that she does her own mapping of her situation, and then we can discuss basically. So it's not confronting her with this concept that we sense is a little bit intimidating. But that's it, I think. So the experience I feel is are going on now as we speak there in Älvkarleby, and we will also, because one of the things that we would wanted to do differently if we've had more time or if our brains were functioning more early, which we probably couldn't have been because we were new to the concept also, but was to have a broader, maybe to be able to have done a survey internally to ask more people from all layers of the organization. So we're trying to collect as much as we can now, but it will never be quantified or like a good quality to give that. So that will be part of our vision or our stepwise process that we would want to offer a survey and a type of workshop. And we haven't decided fully. We're investigating those type of frameworks we could use because IDGs is great. That could be one. We're also we like that reinventing organization model framework that you shared with us, Gunilla, that is taking the inner organization and a lot of, I mean, different, it's a mapping tool basically, but I mean, I think we could use that from a workshop perspective. And I personally really liked donut economics. I mean, to consider all, both external or internal part. We've reviewed some of those open sources workshop materials, but that would be more towards maybe later when we want to change the vision, because we think that the vision is they're not ready now, but we would want them to put them on the path to be able to change their vision as well, to become more regenerative and have more of an external.
I think we'll stop now because for the other group, but you don't have to wait for the vision to be modified to engage on a regenerative vision. One way, I don't know what, let's see what TV4 will share because they're organizing a workshop. And also, by the way, Technovision, which is Group 10, has created an employee survey. So that's also interesting to hear about. But you can start a workshop the way I mentioned, Cristina Figueres started, or I started with our leader at Jönköping University asking, what is the future that we want for our children? Yeah. And you have brainstorming, Mentimeter, Anonymous, where people start creating input. What is the future that we want for our children? And everybody wants a safe, thriving, happy, shared, blah, blah, blah. We all want the best for our kids. And then, and then moving back is, to, well, what is the current reality and the incoming reality with polycrisis, and what kind of role Vattenfall can play, right? And
Yeah,
that
that could be worked out before.
yeah, yeah, and it's just a smart way it's not phrased, and then it's not even confronting, because then you don't tell them, well, we're
No.
not doing good enough for our kids. You have the people at the individual level in an anonymous way brainstorming what do we want for our kids, and then engage further. Yeah,
Sounds good.
yeah,
That's a great suggestion to get it quick.
yeah. It
So
works. It works.
we have done that in a short way now, they will do that in Älvkarleby with the people that they jump on or like where they're having lunch and stuff. So, but that's a good start, and then we can
Yeah.
build on that to spread it. Thanks for the suggestion.
Thanks. Okay, so now we move to Heimstaden Bostad.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Feel free, the other in the group, to step in if you want to add anything on. For those of you who are not familiar with Heimstaden Bostad, they are a estate company, mainly doing residential properties. They have about 300,000 tenants across Europe. One of few of what we've understood from investigating competitors that actually are that widely spread across Europe. We have focused on the Swedish organization, mainly because that is where we have the key contact, the sustainability manager for Sweden. They are a public company owned by a number of different owners. And they have around 500 employees here in Sweden. To a large extent, I think we've had similar challenges as Nelly and the Vattenfall group. But clearly, like when Nelly talking about visiting their headquarter, the headquarter for Heimstaden is in Malmö, but the headquarter or the head office in Malmö is only a few people working there, as they have properties across Sweden, and they are a bit, I don't know if fragmented is the right word to say, but they have people all over the country, so it's not that easy to gather and get a common culture from that aspect. They have, as they are a public company, they've got quite a lot done already and have a very comprehensive sustainability report, but they're also focusing a lot on the environmental sustainability, but they have done quite a lot on this on the social sustainability as well, but they are not talking about that that much. So we also started with this stakeholder mapping and found that as the easy part of this, but it was also a big stakeholder mapping besides the obvious one with the owners and the tenants and employees. There are also some other organizations, some being limited to Sweden, like Hyres. I don't know, I forgot the name.
Hyresgästföreningen.
Hyresgästföreningen having like limiting how they can adjust rents, for instance, depending on what investments they do. I think we initially got a bit too stuck in like trying to understand where they are, what they've done, before getting too much into what they can do in the future. We got stuck to what we've called to the elephant in the room a lot, which is like how can they do more environmental friendly or regenerative new buildings and renovations, instead of looking into other small steps that can get done. So I think we got a good baseline from their sustainability report, as
But
they've
where,
done.
sorry, but Cornelia, I have to rush you a bit. Where are you now? What is your conclusion? What are the recommendation and the feedback that you got from them?
Where we are right now is we've decided to focus on how they can work with the social part of their regenerative journey, both towards shareholders, but also then employees and tenants. We've realized they have a big opportunity on impacting people, not only their own employees and owners, but really tenants when they're reaching out to a lot. So that is how we are. That is where we will next week present more on how we believe they can run different projects towards this different stakeholders.
Do you have ideas? Have you seen other companies doing it? Do you have like tangible, next steps for them?
We have those are to be presented next week. We have not yet finalized them, but we have ideas within the different.
Yes, so what are they? Could you tell us?
Looking at how they are phrasing their vision today and how they are talking about their sustainability work towards the shareholders or within their investment relationship, that is really limited today. So there we can believe they could include the sustainability work more clearly within their vision, but also or like prioritize that in their reporting to really make people understand what they are doing. Within the employees, there are various small different ideas on how to get them engaged and also listen into them and thereby create encouragement and engagement.
Okay.
And then it's also the collaboration with the tenants, because they are using and start using an app where they can communicate with the tenants. So we want them to include more information about the sustainability work and also get more feedback from the tenants as well through this app.
Okay. So this,
where they can
I see this is more specific. Okay. Yeah. So that's now it's already 5 minutes, but when you're presenting to them, present a prototype, an idea how to get started, where to get started. You were just mentioning the app, the employees, not just ideas of working with employees, but what kind of workshop, what kind of tool they could be using, and some examples to really to help make it more tangible for them, right? Yeah, and that's probably what you had in mind already, but yeah.
Yeah, we did our internal assessment on where we believe they were in the sustainability journey, and then we had the sustainability manager doing the same, and we in the group assessed the culture to be more mature than she did. So we think there is quite a lot to do on that side within the company to get the company more involved, even though they are spread across the country.
Okay, thank you, Cornelia and Andreas. And good luck on the presentation next week. And I hope you get some tangible feedbacks to help you make it more actionable, right? What I'm trying to avoid with all groups is that we end up with great ideas, but we don't know how to implement them, and they will never get implemented. So I'm trying to make it as implementable as possible.
Yep.
Thanks. Moving on with Rototilt. Who is it going to be you, Ida?
I can start.
Yeah.
Rototilt is a company that is based in the North Sweden, around 60 kilometers from Umeå, in the middle of the country. It's around 300 employees, and they build attachments to excavators and construction machines. So the biggest issues that we found is not really technical, it's most the culture and the supplier base to get information from there. I have to look at the questions.
Yeah, so indeed, what are the barriers towards being more regenerative, sustainable?
Yes.
And then what are you suggesting and what are the responses to your
Yeah,
suggestions?
so the biggest thing is, because it is a company in northern Sweden, is mainly men who works, and it's only men who rule the company, and it's very men-based. And the culture is a big problem as we see it.
Yeah, we also noticed that they're more short-term focus on the quality and the profits. There wasn't so much, we couldn't have any major visions, but we also have to be more realistic with early steps and sort of change the culture and the attitude of it.
So what have you received some
Well, the supply
reactions?
data was also a problem.
Okay, sorry.
We haven't had our presentation yet, so we're
It's breaking.
they called it changing strategy, but we're trying to create a condition to make it easier to take roots, this kind of sustainability. We have to sort of make the ground or the soil more adaptable. Does that make sense? Let's see, I have the other notes. Hold on.
Like, you have to put the sustainability work down in the company, down to the floor as well. It's just mainly at the moment based in the board group.
Okay.
I think that's what we're trying to say.
Okay. And how do you see this happening?
Well, there is a big change in the whole branch at the moment. And a big part of the board is retiring. Some have retired this year and some will retire next year. So when new people, most people in the board has been there since they was like 18 and they are retiring now. So sustainability has not really been in their learning school. But when they taking in new people from large company as Volvo and things like that, they have the thinking and it's a lot easier to reach them.
Okay. You haven't presented yet, is that what you said, Ida?
We haven't presented it for the company, our presentation.
Okay, but you work there. So where do you see you could get started in the next steps?
Well, I think our next step is to present it for the company.
Yeah, I understand that. But then where do
you mean that you're asking basically what we're planning to? We're trying to make the message that they need to link sustainability with efficiency and quality. We're trying to get that message through.
Yes.
I think that's the question, right?
And to prove the profit of working with sustainability.
Do you think?
Is that the question?
Well, the question is anything to start implementing and doing a pilot. Do you think your group could run a workshop before?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds great. Yeah. So, okay, presentation next week, and potential workshop. To have more feedback and then hopefully get some ideas across.
We have done a couple of interviews. Or quite a few. So we have the input from there.
Yeah.
And we will just show our results and our ideas. And I know they want them because they want me to take this course. And
okay, good.
So they are open for it, but they need help.
Okay, good. Thanks, Ida. Yeah, so let's see if I can be of help in the coming weeks, but yeah, please let me know. Now we will listen to TV4.
I think you've just got me. I don't know. Maybe Zara's on the call. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess I think our realizations were that they are quite immature on their sustainability journey. They have a lot of good practices at sort of grassroots level. Different departments are doing things, but at a sort of organizational level, they don't have a sustainability statement. They don't have a sustainability strategy. They are not organized. So that influenced how we then approach them to try and kind of get them into a space where they can see these gaps a little bit more clearly. So then we used things like 8 forms of capital just to show that they have got a lot of things going for them, but they maybe need to know how to use them or think about using them better. We have tried to use some donut economics, which is maybe a little bit abstract for them to relate to, but we're trying to get them to relate to that. We've done some benchmarking to show them what other media organizations in Nordics, Europe, globally are doing and are capable of doing without it killing their business. So we've given them some good best practice. We've done the ecosystem mapping. And I guess so far we have presented back to some of their internal stakeholders. We got interviews with lots of people, which was good, but mostly around the production side of things, where they are already in a reasonably good place. But I think it's when we presented we presented a report to them beginning of last week. And I think there was some, oh no, you can't talk about the strategy. Oh, we're never going to do a sustainability report. Take that out of your report. We won't be doing that. Which is a little bit, yeah, our findings are still our findings. It's like you might not like them, but we need to think about balancing a little bit in terms of we want to tell them things that we think they may find it uncomfortable to read it, but we're not going to just make it tell them they're great when they're failing on some basic things. So I think the next step for us then is a little bit about how do we frame it in a way that it lands well and it doesn't just end up in the bin, that they actually pay attention to it. So to do that, we're looking a little bit around how can we leverage some of their inclination towards storytelling and narratives. Can we throw some inspirational quotes at them? Can we tell them an interesting story where they're the heroes? I think that should resonate and be more palatable than bombarding them with facts and things. So I think we can try that. We did propose a workshop with them, either with a particular department or with the representatives from different departments. This is actually partly their idea. To try and say, if we can't change at the top, can we kind of spread more widely across the organization to get more areas thinking about what they could be doing and maybe kind of create a little bit more of a maybe Trojan horse type approach. If there's sort of if in the middle there everyone's trying to come up, maybe that has an opportunity to influence at the top. But actually yesterday they came back and said, we've changed our minds, we don't want to do that. But we're having a meeting in 10 days on our impact, risks and opportunities for setting our strategy for next year. Would you like to join that instead?
Oh, wow.
So we're kind of like, okay, that's not the sort of future visioning workshop that we were getting excited about doing, but maybe this is
even better.
Yeah, and they've recently been acquired by Schibsted, and the head of sustainability for Schibsted will also come to that meeting.
Schibsted, how do you spell it? Okay, I'll check it out. Okay.
Schibsted. Schibsted.
Okay.
So I've been looking a little bit about what's her qualifications and background, and is she sustainability for 40 years and this is, she lives and breathes it, or has she been the HR manager and communications and someone said, oh, you can pick up sustainability? And I think she has been studying this for at least 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
So I think she'll know a lot, but I think her focus will very much be on minimizing the impact of the organization. And I think our message will be to shift into the thinking a little bit more regenerative and saying, as a storyteller who talks to millions of people daily, you can do so much more than just minimize your carbon footprint of a building or something. That's nothing. You can talk to millions of people and get them to change their behavior.
Yeah.
That's huge.
That's huge.
That's where you need to be thinking.
Creating a new narrative. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Ed. Yeah, and we might continue talking later, but I think that's very interesting news. Yeah. Let's see. So now you're attending a strategic meeting. Yeah. So we'll
it's but it's nice that we kind of thought, well, it's great that they want us in the room. That they must have thought something was okay in the report.
They're not too afraid of you. That's great. And actually they are welcoming you. Yeah. So that shows as well a strategic interest. That's great. Yeah. Okay, we'll listen to Terracom, Group 9.
Yes.
Great.
We started with the bank, SEB, but the contact was very limited, so we had to change. And then we had luck and found out via connections that we could use Terracom. And Terracom, that's a state-owned company that operates, maintain, and develop the infrastructure for terrestrial radio and television in Sweden. So we were a bit in a hurry. We were a bit late due to SEB. We know everything about banking now. And we got in contact with the former CEO for Terracom. She got retired in March this year, so she could actually tell us about the journey they have made. And then we were updated on what they were doing in 2024 and their mission in 2025. Then we got the opportunity to meet the sustainability manager at Terracom. So she updated us where they were and what they were doing at the moment. And the nice thing about this was, and I was not really expecting that, they actually shared what was successful and where they have failed. So it was a really interesting discussion, and I think we learned a lot. And their challenges is to, it's about communication and people, of course. They did something that was unexpected for them. They actually talked to the operation. They have a lot of field engineers going out to those masts and working there. And when they trained the managers in each area, it started to happen something in the field area. So those guys, it's mainly guys, men, they started to take their own initiatives. They started to pick down all the stuff in the masts. They renewed them to be able to use them again. And that wasn't really a decision. They just started to do it. And then they realized this area is really, if we could get people to understand this and really see what benefits it could be, then a lot of things will happen. And of course, we have to give them the tools and so on. So going forward, they are just now working with the mission and vision. And it's in December, there will be a meeting with the board to present the new vision that would be more focused on social benefits of their of the company.
Okay.
And hopefully they get a decision in December. We had a lot of discussions about communication, and both they have realized that they have to train all people in the company. If you have a manager that really doesn't understand it or really feel for it, then that's a limitation for the whole organization.
Yeah.
So they will train the whole staff. And we also had a discussion about the communication, the broad communication, because we can see it's when we read all this, we could see that it would be hard to explain for people both what they are doing and how things are connected. We think that the sustainability should be included in everything you do. Now they already have a lot of sustainability issues in their reporting and so on, but you have to explain for people what's sustainability and in what area and so on. So we had a lot of discussions there, and actually we was kind of workshop with her, so that was really, really good. And we learned a lot of their limitations as well. It's real.
Yeah. So sorry, Anna. What? Because we now need to take the other group. But what do you see as your next step? Because now you have engaged on many avenues. I see.
Yes, we are actually writing everything down, and we are working in some areas that we can see that they can do more improvements, and we promise to come back with the report and our findings going forward. But she's already told us that she will use some of those ideas that we had.
Okay.
So
maybe you don't want to mention the role of the person, but is it a leadership role or?
Oh yeah, she's a sustainability manager that we have.
Okay.
And she is also the what do you say in English? The law area. She's
okay as well. Yeah. Okay.
So she got this as well, but she has the sustainability specialists in her team.
Okay. Is she part of the leadership team?
Yes.
Okay, very excellent. Okay, yeah.
And and they are doing a good, really big job about how to report this every year. They started with the kind of law area, but they found out that they have to be more transparent, and we talked a lot about that as well, and to involve people more in the company about this issue. So I think they are on a journey, and a good one, and they want to do good.
Yeah. We will take Technovision, but I'm happy to meet groups separately if there are need for further conversations. But thank you. At least it's interesting for everybody also to see current challenges, and you have engaged a lot in training, in communication workshops. So yeah, it sounds actually very promising. Technovision. So now we are moving to India.
Yeah. Yes. Hello. So our company is Technovision, and it is basically it is an Indian company based in Pune, Maharashtra, and it comes under MSME, which is micro, small, and medium enterprises. It is a manufacturing firm that manufactures material handling equipments, which caters to different industries such as automobiles, pharmaceuticals, food industry, e-commerce, etc. So one of the major focus of our study here was studying the employee well-being of the people in the company. So we realized that we need to divide it into two groups. So first was the shop floor workers, and the second one was the office workers, which were mostly engineers and admins. So first, to talk about the shop floor workers. So Technovision has around 60 shop floor workers, and to understand their background, around 50% of them are full-time workers, whereas other 50% are contract workers, which work on contract basis over there. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello?
Okay.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are, but I don't know if you hear us. Ayushi, otherwise, could you, or maybe someone else from the group, could you continue? Okay, can someone from the group take over?
Oh, give me a second. I don't think I can fully take over. I need to get to a different room. Sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, if you can share about challenges and where you are now
Yeah,
in your
let me
progress.
get to the document.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I think she got disconnected. So what we realized was that the shop floor workers, we have to remember that they are extremely dependent on the income that they get from this job. And they're very concerned about daily wages and physical fatigue, about their safety, because if they get injured, then their whole livelihood kind of goes for a toss. And so these are the issues that we found that were grounded in their basic needs. The employees who are full-time employees a little bit more educated. They deal with fairness, appraisal bias, and skill gaps. They have some maybe some burnout from the project demands, and also they crave this cultural engagement within the organization, which does not exist to a huge extent right now. So we did a survey, and we did two separate surveys because we realized that the personas of these two kind of employees were very different. And one of them for the shop floor workers was pen and paper because they're not very digital savvy. And I think Vaishnavi is back. I think she can take up the results of
Well,
this.
please continue, Ayushi, because we don't have much time.
Yeah, I can continue on this. So on the workers survey, we focused on four main areas, which was money, that how are they getting their wages, how are they able to manage emergency with these kind of money which they get, because they earn like quite a less compared to the usual amounts. Then we focused on skill and safety, work-life balance, and motivation and culture. And apart, like, we did get certain quantitative data from this survey, but we thought it would be better to actually go and talk to these workers as well, because the numbers didn't give us very clear indications. So I will quote some of the very key issues which we found in our interviews. So one of the painter who is a daily wage worker there told that salary here comes on time, and that's a very big relief. But when his wife had an emergency surgery at his home, it was not covered under the employee insurance which they were given by the government, and they didn't know where to ask the money for. So, and he had to take a very high interest loan for this kind of surgery. Further, there were other issues regarding safety, that most of the employees or workers which work there do not get any formal training before joining that, and that leads to a lot of safety issues. And we talked to a contract welder over there who got his hand stuck in the machine, and then it took around 1 year for him to recover from the injury. And also there is a lot of overtime work which they have to do, and they don't get enough sleep. So we took all these feedback from the interview and the field survey to the HR. And so regarding the first part, which they don't have emergency funds with them, and their daily wage whatever they're getting is very less to fund these kind of emergency things. So what the HR suggested is told to us that there were certain emergencies in COVID, and they gave them, because they did not have any financial cushion,
Sorry, please.
interest-free loans, which were mostly advanced salary payments, and then all the loans were repaid by salary deductions over the next 4 to 5 months. So regarding our first recommendation, we are actually working with the HR and with certain organizations who have provided interest-free loans to these workers, and think of certain formal ways where HR can maintain this kind of interest-free loan. So it is kind of an emergency salary which will be given in advance, and they don't have to pay any interest on them, and it will be deducted through the salaries. So we are working on how we can formalize these policies. And we went through a few case studies regarding other Indian companies who are actually doing this for their workers successfully, and thinking how we can do it for Technovision as well. The second issue which we found out was regarding the unskilled workers, and because they are not very skilled, it leads to safety injuries and all, and it actually hampers Technovision as well, because it increases the cycle time of the work, and they have to work on their injuries, etc. So we're working with certain partnerships with certain training institutes which provide these trainings to these workers in subsidized rates or free rates. And so there are government funded ITI institutes in India which do this. Then there is also a lot of CSR activities by welding companies such as Fronius, who has started a 59-day intensive welding course in India, just for providing safety instructions to these workers. So we are in talks with the HR that how can we tie up with these institutions and make them mandatory to take these trainings.
Thank
So
you.
this is the second recommendation.
I think you have more points to talk about, but unfortunately, it's more than 5 minutes. First, congratulations. I see the great progress and also how specific you're getting, and also that you are now working on the implementation. That if you manage to implement the changes that you're trying, that's going to create long-lasting positive effect for the employees. So that sounds very positive. So it's actually great. So you said the HR director is open to these suggestions and the research that you're doing. Did I understand correctly?
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds very, very positive. Okay, we can continue on that. And if you want to present the rest and contact me, then we can meet separately. But now we have just a few minutes. So to everybody, first, amazing, because if you remember at the beginning of the course, you know that regenerative was maybe a word for many of you. So not only you've been able to make sense of it, but also to start diagnosing where is an organization. Now all of you are, and that's what I wanted to make sure, no group should stay at the theoretical level. Everybody should be implementing, testing, getting feedbacks. So that your group legacy to the company that you are working with will be them taking over and continuing this work once you have disappeared from their world, right? My last proposition, and you can do it in your group, was to reflect together on where you currently feel stuck in the process and in what you're trying to implement. So you can discuss that within your group. Where do you feel stuck, a little bit scared, or that you're missing something? And already by discussing it within the group, you might be able to identify solutions. And if you have questions or requests, then you can reach out to me, and I'll try my best to help out. So I hope that today was inspiring for you to also listen to others and to the example of the Blue Bottle and the Port of Gothenburg. And I'll look for more information and post more. Thank you for today. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend, everyone.